I am excited to share that I got the Wi-Fi extender. Someone had suggested that this live doesn't have any issues or any major issues. Please let me know. I do have my laptop out here as well to see if there's any comments. But yeah, so I am going to go live. I've tried this a couple of times, tested it out, and my Wi-Fi just was not working because I do work out in the garage, and so it just doesn't come out this far, but I did get that extender, and I'm really hoping it works. I'm gonna be making this sunflower out of stained glass. I'm gonna be cutting it during this live. I'm hoping to grind it tonight, possibly solder later, but more than likely tomorrow. I already have everything cut out and traced, because I noticed last time that I did this on a live, it just took a little bit too much time. I'm hoping everything goes smoothly. I've been cutting glass for a little while right now today, so I don't know how well my skills will actually be, but we're gonna get through this together. So I do know with this pattern, I can already tell that it's like a little skewed here. So I'm hoping that it turns out okay. It's for a friend, so I know that if it doesn't really pan out, it'll be okay. Excuse me. And yeah, so I'm just gonna get started on cutting. I will have my comments open if anybody does want to chime in or ask anything. Here goes, and hope for the best. That glass scratch stick together. Happen when I wonder if I can. I don't have a ton of working space back here, but I'm gonna try and see if I can put the pattern somewhat in the line so you can kind of see. And trying to figure out the right angles can be very intimidating. And I can tell that I have a lot of like wasted space because I'm not quite sure how to lay out that pattern to utilize it the most. I noticed that if I place my pieces like directly next to each other, I have to do a lot more grinding, so I'm just kind of trying to avoid that, but I don't know if I'm doing that the correct way, or I should maybe give it another go. And that happens a lot with me still, just kind of going to the edge accidentally. And that should be how accurate my cuts actually are. I don't know if I can find that piece again. Just on the inside line, but it doesn't always pan out that way. Oops. And I do want to show, I've gotten a lot of comments about tapping the glass recently. So this is what the internet told me to do. I tried it earlier. It didn't work half of the time still. So I'm going to try it now and see. Hopefully it's not too loud. And sometimes it just doesn't work. I don't know if it's my cutting. I don't know if it's the way I'm holding the pieces, but hopefully this doesn't. I'm gonna try it again. That one seems way off. That would be why. And I do that a lot. So you can probably tell that I still have like a lot of accuracy issues with getting as close to that inner line as possible. Something that I'm working on as a beginner. So I'm gonna have a little bit of grinding to do ahead of me. This piece I am definitely the most intimidated by, so let's hope for the best. Went a lot better than I thought it was gonna go with that piece. Probably one of my cleaner curves that I've ever done, which is not impressive to a lot of people, but progress. And this is the yellow I went with for the sunflower, mostly because I didn't have enough of this style, which you probably can't really tell a difference on screen, but this one's a little bit lighter and has a little bit of a texture to it. But I don't think I had enough to do the actual flowers with my cutting skills and how much glass I'll go through. If you hear any weird noises in the background, that is because there is a pasture next to me and there's a bull eating trees right now. So overall, that went pretty smoothly, which I'm very surprised by. It went a lot faster than I thought. And because I can't really show the grinding process, I think I'm gonna cut out, I wanted to do some books that I just got a pattern for. These pieces are extremely difficult. So since this just kind of went by so quickly and I can't solder quite yet, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out some of these. So I have to trace my pattern and do all of that kind of boring stuff. But I do have the chat open if anybody is on or has any questions. I am a beginner at learning how to make stained glass. So I'm just kind of on here practicing. Hi, Sue. I'm so glad you chimed in. I got something to hopefully fix my Wi-Fi, an extender somebody had suggested. So I really hope that it worked and that there's no interruptions with the actual service of it. But I just cut out the sunflower. As you can see, I have a lot of grinding to do. So my accuracy, my cuts are getting better, but my accuracy is still a little bit off. But I'm just gonna do some of these books. And my intention is to make some like, put copper foil overlay, which I've never worked with before. So I'm very excited about it. But I don't know how to actually do that, how to cut this pattern out in my copper. I have this thicker one. So I don't know if I'm gonna end up like tracing it on there or I don't know. I have to figure out how to actually do that. I know I have to use that E6000 or 600 glue to make it stick on there. But I'm gonna try it and see what happens, but that'll be probably later this evening. I'm hoping to grind so I can solder later. They're little ghosts. Yeah. So I thought it'd be like make a little spooky Halloween themed book, or this for like a spell book or, you know, something kind of different. My cousin is obsessed with reading. And so I want to make her little books anyway. And I thought I might as well try the copper overlay while I'm doing it. So I did pair up some colors already, but I haven't traced them. I have a lot of scraps and I thought this size would be kind of perfect to do this too. That's correct. And unfortunately, this is like the boring part of stained glass, but I wasn't really prepared for this to go without many issues. So, and I definitely have to work on how to cut my pattern so that I don't have as much scrap left, but one step at a time. And these pieces are kind of torturous to cut out. You'd think that, I think I did 2 of them earlier. You'd think I'd get a little bit better at it, but I definitely did not. And I haven't watched that movie yet, Tangled. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to, I promise. I don't know if this will work or not. I didn't see there was a giant scratch in it. Okay. Not really. Actually, I've been rewatching Arrested Development, probably an age gap thing again. But I've had that on kind of repeat for a while. Do you have any suggestions on it? I like almost anything, but wholesome. I mean, I like Gilmore Girls. I feel like that's wholesome, but I prefer like comedies or dramas. If you have suggestions, I am all ears. And I so appreciate you always chiming in. You are so kind. And I've been having a really tough week. So this has been, you chiming in is awesome. It would probably be a lot more entertaining for other people, especially during these moments, if I could have music playing, but I have my headphones on, so I kind of don't even notice the drowned out sound. I know that like the birds are out. There's a cow behind me that's eating the tree, so it shouldn't be like pure quiet, but I'm gonna start with the most difficult one because small pieces I am very much struggling with still. And it's just not getting better. I don't know. That was probably the worst decision I could have made. But it worked out because of that straight and then that curve. I'm noticing that if it's not a deep curve, it really, and I don't want to jinx it, but it really doesn't break the glass. Like when it's a deep curve, if I were to do that a little bit more, it would have just cracked right through there because of the path of least resistance. But the smaller curves seem to be okay. And watch like this one go just terribly. Thank you, I appreciate that. Young Sheldon, I've heard of but haven't watched. And I don't know what Mandy's First Marriage is. What's that? Is that Netflix? Is it like a sitcom? Oops. I think I'm gonna be able to save this. Maybe. Grind it. See what happens. Worst case, I have to come back and cut it later. Also, can you tell me how my Wi-Fi connection is, if it's any better than the previous ones? Or if it's cutting out still? I don't know how people cut the edges like that. It just never works for me. Awesome, thank you. But tell me more about those TV shows. Is that like Ginny and Mandy or something like that on Netflix? Is that the one? kind of tempted to try this one out again. I don't usually use it because, I mean, it's been a lot better lately, but this finger tends to have a couple of issues. And no matter how much I tighten the screw here, and I know it's supposed to move a little bit, you know, because you don't want it to be totally stiff, but it just seems like I have a lot more issues with this one. I'm gonna try it and see what happens, because yeah, I definitely don't have control over it, holding it that way. I know people hold it like this. And I don't think that's gonna work for me. Georgie and Mandy, so I'll have to check it out and see what it is. I have most of those platforms. I think I don't have Paramount. I'll have to check it out and see. Thank you for the suggestions. So this tool, I don't know what my problem is. Like, I can't get any control over it. I'm gonna try this one again and see if I can get closer to the edge and pray I don't shatter it. I'm gonna have to get like a notepad out for all the suggestions you give me on things to watch, so I don't forget. I haven't really been watching anything though. I get up really early, go for a run, and then at night I don't want to watch TV at all. I don't know who I am anymore. These are the ones that I did earlier, little potion bottles. I don't know if I have enough of every piece, but you can kind of get an idea. And you can see how much grinding I have to do, which is fine. And then I just did a bunch of different colors on there. So this one would swap out for this. Or green. I really liked this one. Kind of wish I would have done it this way though instead. That's all right. The pink one. I thought this was a cute pattern. I don't know. So did those earlier. I have a lot of grinding to do tonight, and I hope that my grinder works for me. And this was probably my least accurate cut of the day with this specific pattern. Oh, a ship in a bottle. That would be kind of a cool pattern to do. Hard. Be a difficult one. So we're gonna see how these turn out. I wish that I had different glass, but some of it has like these little, probably very difficult to see on camera because it's not that close up, but they have these little like wisps of clear in there that I was hoping would come through as like the book lines, but it doesn't look like it's gonna totally do that. And I think I'm gonna keep cutting a couple of these just because my sunflower went by so quickly. I don't know what happened. I was prepared for terrible things to happen again. But it didn't, which I guess is a good thing. And I have this one that has like waves in it. I thought maybe that would be cool for the pages. I will say that I do wish I would have made this one a little bit bigger. Because these pieces really stink to cut out. Ethan, are you talking about the sunflower? And when you're saying green, I think it's probably not showing on the screen, but this is like an amber. It's hard to see, like a brown, if that's the one you're talking about. Or are you talking about this green? So on the potion, and thank you so much. That's funny. Can you find out if it's a 70-watt iron? I'm curious if that's the same one, because if it is, I'm fascinated that they chose that one. But also that's the one that I use, and I've learned some tips on it, so I can definitely share them at a different time. But yeah, I just made a video, actually, I haven't posted it yet, on how to use the Weller for soldering that I've learned throughout the process. So Ethan, when you were talking about this one, I could, but I definitely could, and it would be like this. However, the back of these they have textures on them. It's hard to see on film. And maybe this one's a little bit easier if you can see the textures on it. So the textures would technically be on the back side if I were to do that. So it just wouldn't, they would still line up because it would just be flipped, but the texture of the clear would be on the back, if that makes sense. I would have to recut it and reverse my pattern that I traced on there. Was this one I already did? No. And I'm hoping that this white, because it's solid white, actually works with the book pages, or 4 book pages. I'm also hoping that I can actually grind these pieces. I have no idea what's going to happen later. Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Well, the Weller, just so you know, Ethan, thank you for your question too. The Weller, I know you're in Celsius, so I don't know the conversion on it. Don't hate me because I'm American. But I was doing it at 610 and I wasn't getting smooth lines. I wish I had my patterns out, or my examples out here to show you. And I wasn't getting like really smooth lines. So someone suggested 700 degrees, and that seemed to be the key point. However, when you work with lead came, or if you ever work with this around the edging of it, it will absolutely melt, which it wasn't doing at the 600 degrees. So I learned that lesson very quickly. That's just something to keep in mind with it. So I have to order online, unfortunately, because I don't have a local glass store within 4 hours of me, which really stinks. So I'll answer your question in a second, sorry. So this side has these lines on it where it goes straight through, and I know for like a book, I don't really want that. So this has more of that wispy. So I'm gonna make sure I do this side for the pattern. So I unfortunately have to order online, which really stinks because the price on it is outrageous no matter where you get it from, even though you can get decent stuff. And I order from a place called Bradstreet Glass, but their quality is really good. You have to order a significant amount in order to get the free shipping to make it worth it. Otherwise, shipping is like 90 bucks. So I don't know, that part really stinks. But yeah, I have to order online. If you have a local shop, check them out. Absolutely check them out. You will save a significant amount of money on it. Like such a significant amount of money. I do have a shop. So I'm originally from Illinois. I live in Tennessee now. And there's like, you have to go 4 hours in every direction to get glass, 3 to 4 hours. So ordering online is just my best option. Thankfully, I do have a friend that makes stained glass and she lets me raid her collection all of the time. But there's a place in Illinois, in Decatur, Illinois, which is like middle Illinois, called The Glass Shop, and I really want to go check them out. And they just had a huge semi-annual sale. I mean, you can save so much money if you shop local for glass. I'm finding like solder, lead came and stuff is pretty average if you order it online, whether it's Amazon or an actual site. But the glass, if you can find a local shop, and I'm not saying like a shop that just offers classes, because I have one of those near me and their glass prices are kind of outrageous because they're not obviously a wholesale shop or anything. But if you can find a local shop, definitely. Oh yeah, we did talk about the iron a little bit. I'm wondering if it's not the 70 watt that I have, if it has this thermostat separate. Interesting. Because usually that's the one that, the Hacko that I was talking about before. That's interesting. But the temperature, absolutely try to adjust that for smoother lines. I also learned that when it pools together, or like kind of creates like a bubble of it, it's because there's too much solder. So try to pull that off, or you can kind of tilt your piece and let it drip down. If it's flat, I'm learning that it's because there's too big of a gap. So you either have to like stuff it with copper wire or something else in there to kind of help it hold it together. Otherwise it just kind of falls through. I think those are all of the things that I've recently learned. Yeah. I'm just really kicking myself for not having other patterns ready to go, because cutting is the most fun part of stained glass for me. And I thought I had taken this off, so we'll see if it cuts okay. I've had that happen too. It was a cause between gravity. I'm on a drafting table, so it's like slightly tilted a little bit. So I put something underneath my corkboard or whatever you're soldering on, and that seemed to help a little bit, but it was, it ended up being like too much solder on there, which it's so weird because looking at it, you don't really see, or like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of solder on it. But I'd be curious if that happens again, because mine does whatever it wants to. I'm getting a lot of comments as well about holding the soldering iron directly on the copper foil, and instead, first started, I really liked that dot method to drop the dots and then smooth it out. And now that I've learned a little bit more with my soldering iron, I'm more comfortable. I completely understand what people are talking about with it and why you should do it that way. But I think my tip is also an issue because I don't know if I have it in front of me. This is one of them. It's not that wedge. So if you hold the solder down, you're supposed to basically, if this was my solder, hold here and let it, we'll say this is copper foil, my tip and the solder. The tip should be touching the foil and you kind of let that go with it. And it just doesn't work with my soldering iron. So I don't know if I'm just still learning or what's going on with it. Interesting that they're doing the copper foil you said too still, right? And I don't know if that's gonna nick it. Instead of the lead came version. Also, I appreciate everybody in the chat. Sue, Ethan, Anne, you guys are awesome. I like to come on early because I'm still kind of getting comfortable with lives and figuring things out and learning how much I should have prepared or what people are enjoying to kind of watch. And today went by really quickly. Which I shouldn't complain about because the last one I did, it was a disaster with everything breaking. A little bit more accurate that time. It's not gonna work if gonna have to grind that. Oh, nope, I'm just going, my camera is just not large enough for the space that I'm working on. So it's just hitting down here, but I'm not going off or anything, sorry. Thank you, Anne. Also, the gardens that you post are stunning. I know you said it's like your community or neighborhood garden. I'm so jealous though. Maybe one day I'll do a live of the sunset out here. It's nothing like France, but there's pastures and like a rolling hill behind me that makes the most gorgeous sunset in the summer. So I did a poll on my page. I need a drink of water, excuse me. To ask what people wanted to see next. The live kind of stinks because I don't have that footage to post the videos later on, like the concept of it or what I've learned during the process and all that good stuff. So that kind of stinks, but I'm really glad that I did this one on live. So I don't know if it will be a live or if it will be something else, but I would love to know what project people would like to see, because I've been doing a lot of the same projects to recreate them for various reasons. Some people want them, like my family and friends want the projects that I'm making, so I get requests for them. Thank you, Anne. Lovely seeing you. So I get requests for them and I recreate them, and then it helps me compare my progress to my first projects, which has been awesome. But now I'm kind of like running out of ideas or what to make people. I know flowers are very popular. My glass collection is so limited, so that's been an issue too. But like I have to recreate that Mother Mary that I did, and I don't have enough blue, so I have to wait to do that one. But if there's suggestions, I'm all ears. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna break on me. I don't think this one's gonna work with this method. I also don't know how people break these pieces. And there's not enough space to, this is probably gonna crack on me. Yeah. And that's why people say to wear gloves. So give me a Band-Aid really quick. But in my defense, I did cut this hand earlier, and I'm pretty sure right in the same spot. So that's all right though. Everything is good. Just give me 1 second. Okay. I don't know if you get flagged for having like cuts or anything on here, so I don't want to show anything, but it's not that bad. I do, yeah, I can definitely use the, not for that cut, I thought you just meant in general because I love the sound of them. You can't use running pliers on pieces like this because it's kind of hard to see. This is what I'm learning with using running pliers. There's not enough for it to kind of grab onto. It needs to be in that center spot so that it can crack the glass properly. And if it's too small, it has nothing to hold on to, so it just doesn't really do anything. I have like a little bit of purple. I used a lot of my glass for larger projects. I also have this really beautiful, let me see if I can find it really quick. This really beautiful lavender, which I don't know if you can kind of see it on the screen, how gorgeous that is. But if it's for the Mother Mary project, she is associated with this very sky or heaven-like blue, which is, I did actually think about using this, but it wouldn't work for that one. But that is the purple I have right now. So I'm probably going to recut this one, obviously, because that didn't work out, and figure out, I'll probably do it in the center and see if that helps me more. I don't know how people cut such small pieces. So I'm gonna try something a little bit different and see if it works. Maybe that would be a good video to ask people how, see, womp womp. I think I can make this work though still. So I'm gonna keep going, or keep that one and just grind it and see if it works. So with the running pliers, you can see that it has on both sides, it has enough to hold on to. If it was over here, it maybe not even crack at all, or it would crack in the wrong spot. So they don't really work for smaller pieces, but that was a very good suggestion. And I've seen people like, it's hard to see on the screen, I know, they'll kind of pinch it right at the cut line. And I just don't know how they're actually doing it. So smaller. If I just cut myself again. Oh gosh, disaster today. I promise I normally don't cut myself this much. but things happen. And that's why people get mad at me for not wearing gloves. But it's okay. Because of how many cuts I'm getting, that's gonna be my last little bit of this one. Usually my cutest pick. I still don't know how to do this. Is that one okay? Because I have something else to hold on to. But otherwise, I don't know how people are doing it. Watch it videos on it. So I'm gonna see if there's any comments really quick because my laptop just pulled it off, and because of all the disasters that are currently happening, I'm gonna cut this one off. I'll have to watch when I watch it. I'll see if I can do it or find it on there. That's a bummer that it's getting glitchy, but I am gonna cut it off. I wonder. It doesn't have a connection still, so thank you for letting me know on that. I'm working on it and trying to fix that a little bit better. But I'm gonna sign off, go clean myself up a little bit, and thank you for everybody that chimed in, especially you, Sue. And I'm gonna get to grinding, and hopefully I'll be back on later this evening, but I don't know if it'll be tomorrow to solder the actual project. But I'm gonna get going.